So a couple weeks ago, I made a video talking about an underrated coach in college football that has earned his right to be able to call plays on the sidelines, whether that be in the Big Ten or in the SEC. And Mississippi State didn't listen to me, and Texas A&M didn't listen to me, but it's very clear Michigan State did. So I'm going to go ahead and toot my own horn and say, welcome to East Lansing, Jonathan Smith. If you are new here, welcome on into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below. Thank you to all of the new followers and subscribers that have joined the channel. We're on the race to 1,000, then to 5,000, then 10,000, then 100,000. So make sure you tell your friends, your family, your sister, your brother, your mortal enemies, your best of bros about this channel. And as always, let's continue to talk college football. By the way, when you hit the subscribe button here, make sure you also hit the subscribe button or follow button on Twitter at Mr. Cole Thompson. It's the same name, same handle. So when you click on one, click on the other. Oregon State's Jonathan Smith is saying goodbye to Corvallis and is headed to the Big Ten. He will now be the new replacement at Michigan State in favor of Mel Tucker. And this is the right hire. Plain and simple. This, my friends, will be the best hire of the entire offseason. I don't need to hear it from anyone else. I don't need to see who else is going to be able to find openings. This is exactly what Michigan State needs. This is exactly what the athletic administration was targeting from the jump. Program builder with consistent success. That was what was needed because Mel Tucker was a bit of a flash in the pan. The best way I can put it is he had a really rocky year to begin his tenure. Then he went out in the transfer portal and he utilized that to his favor like no one's business. He was a kid in a candy store, basically given 60 seconds to get whatever he wants, and it's all free. And he did. And he brought in some excellent defensive linemen. He went and got Doak Walker Award winner Kenneth Walker. He went and he added in premier wide receivers. He went and did it all. And Michigan State ended up benefiting from it. They played in the Peach Bowl. Like everyone saw what Michigan State did that year. But then you never saw constant growth. Instead, you saw a major contract handed out because, well, he did his job. He did exactly what you wanted. But then it was just kind of sitting idle. And then regression set in. And then players were starting to leave via the portal. You saw Keon Coleman head down to Tallahassee. And then you saw Peyton Thorne head to Auburn, Alabama. And countless other names go from the defensive line, from the secondary. They went to Madison and they went to Columbus and they went to other schools because there wasn't growth in the program. What you did was you benefited from having a great year. And then that clock started to tick of, oh, well, how do you get better? And never saw it. Well, Jonathan Smith is completely different than this. Smith actually ended up having to take over after being the offensive coordinator at Washington because Gary Anderson resigned. Gary Anderson said, nope, Corvallis, too tough for me. Can't win here. And you know what? He's not wrong. Dennis Erickson didn't win there a lot. Mike Riley didn't win there a lot. But when they were on their best, guess what? It was because they had a program leader who knew how to elevate play. Every single time you watched as a coach came in, and they were good, they found a way to build. And that's Jonathan Smith. Every year, you saw the team get better, whether it be on offensive line play, whether it be in the secondary, whether it be at linebacker, just plain and simple, minor mistakes that are made in the open field, like misformed tackling. That was no longer a problem. Like execution downfield blocking for wide receivers, no longer a problem. And it culminated to eventually where bowl eligibility became a reality, where actual 10-win seasons became in the distance and real thought. And maybe even a Pac-12 title was not that far out of reach. Think about this for a second. In 2021, when Lincoln Riley made his debut in the Pac-12, he was a play away from not going to the Pac-12 title game. Instead, Oregon State would have. If Jordan Addison doesn't get a touchdown within the last minute of the fourth quarter, Oregon State, because of the upset win they got over Oregon, actually goes to Las Vegas and they play Utah. And who would have thought back when you thought of all these teams in the Pac-12, Utah and Oregon State to determine who's going to be the winner of the Pac-12 and go ahead and play in the Rose Bowl? Who thought that was a possibility? Not me, not many people. But Smith was able to do that. And every single year, you watch as he was able to add in the right coaches, to get the right players, to learn and buy in the stock of what he was producing. And slowly but surely, here they were being a contender. They had one of the best running backs in college football that no one seems to talk about in Damian Martinez. He wasn't perfect by any means whatsoever, but you did see a substantial growth in DJ Uiagalelei that you never saw when he was at Clemson. You watched wide receivers continue to bolster their stat line. The defensive line was superior. Their offensive line was sound as all hell, and they didn't allow a lot of pressures or sacks. And that's based off of identity. And that identity is also following Jonathan Smith to East Lansing. Countless coaches are coming with him from the Beaver staff. And that's a good thing because they also know, hey, this is not going to be an overnight build. We're not going to be TCU of 2022, where we come out, we go ahead and we get massive upset wins over Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State and Iowa and all these other teams. And then we're going to find our way into the college football playoff. That's not what you have right now. Michigan State's in shambles. Michigan State, whatever talent is left, is now going to be sitting on the border wondering, is this a guy I could actually believe in? Or is what's best for my career to go elsewhere and maybe get a shot at making it to the NFL? This is not going to be an overnight job. Like Mike Elko, because of his relationship in College Station, can probably say to himself, you're not going anywhere because I know that I recruited you. You want to come and stay with me. Trust what I've already built before. Watch me do it again. Jonathan Smith doesn't know these players. Jonathan Smith doesn't know what the culture is like in East Lansing, but he knows how to win. And winning solves everything. And again, I don't think Smith takes this job if the Pac-12 stays alive. Because now that you know that there was going to be opportunities where maybe they would be able to make the college football playoff, and even if it was, say, just Stanford and Arizona State and Utah, and they stuck behind in the Pac-12, and then you added in, like, say, a Fresno State and an Air Force and a San Jose State and Fresno State, you add in those schools, they probably are still one of the favorites because of what the identity is. But unfortunately, because of what happened with Larry Scott and George Karkloff and how they ended up dismantling a conference to where we no longer have a Power 5, but really a Power 4, he took a risk. And you know what? The Spartans are taking a risk. They don't know what Jonathan Smith is like. They don't know if he can be able to develop the same amount of talent when you have to go up against schools like Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, even Iowa for that matter, or Wisconsin with Luke Fickell. But what you do know is the guy's won, and the guy's developed talent, and the guy has been able to send multiple players to the NFL, and he's also been able to get big-time upset wins slowly but surely. And the persona that was in Corvallis was the Beavers were a belittling, buzzing team that didn't really do much and were just kind of around to don't mess around and find out what the Beavers are going to do. Because if you let them hang around far too long, it's going to be close. And it was for a lot of games this year. They got a top 10 win over a Utah team. They played down to the wire in the most asinine conditions possible against a Washington team. They held their own against a really resurging Arizona team and countless others. They were a good team. The Pac-12 was really tough this year. And Jonathan Smith now has that ability to say, I've been able to do this in this conference. Watch what I can do in another one. Michigan State's a team that can actually probably make it to the we can make it to the Big Ten title game. They probably can every few years be alongside like the Ole Misses and the Missouris of the world, where New Year's Six Bowls are a probability, not a possibility, where the college football playoff is now within reach. It's not a ultimate test goal. It's actually a formality that you should be going after. They have all that, and they have the resources, and they just need the right guy at the helm. You have to start from square one from what happened with the Mel Tucker era. And you got a guy who watched a coach resign, took over a program that was in shambles, and built it into something that was at least relevantly sound. There's a saying that I once heard on a TV show. You probably have heard of it as well. It's called This Is Us. Good show. Old doctor, one of the kind old mans that like just finds his way onto television all the time, says, when life gives you sour lemons, find a way to make the sweetest lemonade. And exactly that was what happened when Jonathan Smith returned to his alma mater 6 years ago and brought the Beavers to relevancy. He made some sweet-ass lemonade, and he's going to be able to make it with better ingredients and probably a little bit more buy-in from the culture and from the boosters in East Lansing. I honestly think that this was the home run hire of the offseason. I don't think you're going to get much better than what you get in Jonathan Smith. This is a guy who, a few years from now, if everything goes his way, we could be talking about Coach of the Year and maybe even playing for a Final Four, if not a national championship with the Spartans.
you so
You
much
got
for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.